guys, happy Pride! Black Lives Matter. Check the description for links to ways you can help, places you can donate, petitions you can sign, and suggestions for things you can read and watch to become anti-racist and just be a better person. Before this year's Pride Month ends, literally today, I'm posting this on June 30th, 2020, I wanted to discuss my sexuality and where I fit in the queer LGBTQ plus space. I've never really discussed it before and I haven't really felt like I needed to, but we'll get into why that is in a bit. Oh, hello, crow. Also, if you see me looking down, I was like journaling and thinking through this whole video, and so I'll probably just be sharing what I wrote in my journal. So I label myself as a queer woman. I've never really come out and announced my sexuality because I never really felt like I needed to. In my mind, in a perfect society, either no one would come out or everyone would come out. No one would assume your sexuality because there wouldn't be a default normal sexuality to have. People wouldn't be straight until proven otherwise. You could be any sexuality on the spectrum and nothing is right or wrong. Sexuality and who you're attracted to does not dictate how you act, what you wear, or how you sound. Sure, there are stereotypes that people fall into, but sexuality is fluid and amorphous. So how could your level of queerness put you into a box? I don't think I really fit into a specific box for my sexuality. I prefer queer because I think it allows more wiggle room. I like to wiggle. I think as people, we all are constantly changing, and I have definitely changed as a person over time, so why stick with just one strict, rigid label when who knows how I'm going to feel about anybody tomorrow, in 10 years, by the end of my life. I think my sexuality can easily be explained with a quote that Dan Levy's character, David, says in his show, Schitt's Creek. "I like the wine and not the label." He explains that he likes red wine, but also white wine, rosé, and he's even tried a Merlot that used to be a Chardonnay. Now, I'm not a big wine drinker, but it's obvious here that there isn't a wine that David isn't willing to try at a tasting. Okay, the analogy is getting kind of weird, but you know what I mean. I guess I kind of approach my sexuality the same way I approach most things in my life. Don't knock it till you try it. How do I know what the gender of the love of my life is going to be? I don't. I find myself attracted to people with varying gender identities and expressions. I don't know how I'll connect with someone based solely on their gender. I just simply can't limit my mind to think that way. I want to know who someone really is before I determine whether or not I could fall in love with them. I also haven't had to explain my sexuality much because I haven't been dating or putting myself in situations where it would need to be discussed. You probably don't really know how I see myself in terms of sexuality unless we've had a conversation about it, or if you see what I retweet on Twitter, or maybe listen to the podcast Justin and I used to record called Queered. Literally called Queer plus Weird. I'm one of two hosts. Unless you thought there was one queer person and one weird person, I don't know, do the math. You might just assume that I'm straight because A, that's the default sexuality in our society, and B, because the one romantic relationship I've ever been in was with a cisgendered male. I've definitely been straight passing, much like how I've been white passing despite being half Filipino. That's something I'll dive into another day. Anywho, TLDR, too long didn't read for people that don't know what that means. I could have just said. All this to say, I'm queer. I like the wine, not the label. Happy Pride.